Right. So it looks like we're nearing the end here. What's going on? Zegel Florence fiasco. Yet another experiment of the alchemist Zegel Florence has led to yet another disaster. His cozy laboratory got blown sky high, and a cloud of fumes appeared over Dresden, caused a terrible allergy among the soldiers that temporarily paralyzed the army. The enraged crusaders are demanding the sorry excuse for an alchemist be thrown out before they strangle him with their own hands. Start an alchemy school? For the alchemists. There's headquarters, which would be nice. This place. 60 Magi! Has to redeem himself. Get rid of the alchemist. Sell the alchemist with soldiers. After survival. What does that do? It's only for 14 days. Oh, it's a repeatable decree. I see. Um, the officers took great pains to make soldiers hear what Xylophorus had to say without trying to choke him. To their surprise, they realized that an alchemist was, all in all, a fine fellow, even if he did have his head in the clouds most of the time. Xylophorus' apologies turned into a friendly discussion with the troops about the dangers of magic, and the very next day the crowd of soldiers came to listen to a spontaneously organized lecture titled Master Xylophorus, Tricks to Surviving in a Magical World. You know, speaking of magic, I just wrote a dirty Harry Potter fanfic on my subreddit. If you want to go check it out. It's not safe for work. But let me know what you think if you get a chance. Okay, for you lore junkies out there, this is the mask that I found after the last big land battle we had last time. This is the Pristine Mind. You can just skip this part, but Lurk Han was Zoroaster's greatest philosopher, but few people still remember his name. The bards call him the Faced Stealer, a great sage brought low by passion and hubris. Lurk Han believed he could answer any riddle, solve any mystery. Having heard about the wisdom of the demon lord Arish Khagal, he dared to challenge the faceless Sphinx. Within a circle of 23 candles, Lurk Han chanted, "Come give me your most difficult riddle from dusk till dawn." When the last candle burned out, the dim light of the dawn revealed a woman wearing a bloody pharaoh-striped nemes. She handed the mirror mask to Lurk Han. "Don it, where it contains the riddle of the wise man's true face. Solve it, and boundless knowledge will be yours. But if you make a mistake, the mask will claim a part of your own visage." As the woman vanished, Lurk Han put on the mask and witnessed a conundrum of infinite complexity. He kept giving wrong answers time and time again, making his face bleed like an open wound until his soul started to follow suit. Feeling his end draw near, but unable to concede defeat, Lurk Han embarked on a journey. He asked but a single question to every traveler he met. "What is the wise man's true face?" They repeated their answers, howled in pain, cruelly murdered them, and flayed their faces. Unable to move on, the souls of his victims surrounded him, covered his shoulders like a ghostly cloak, and drove him delirious with their whispers until the former sage became known as in Sarkoris as the Face Stealer. Lurk Han quickly forgot who he was and only remembered the riddle he was supposed to solve. He wandered the roads of Sarkoris for years until he met a renowned artificer named Zarya. The woman saw a tall, gaunt figure emerge from the fog, wrapped in a shroud of spectral faces. The sage's voice cut through the barely audible murmur of lost souls. "What is the wise man's true face?" Trying to save herself, Zarya offered Lurk Han her help. She promised the madman that she would create an artifact that would reveal his true visage. Lurkhan bought her 23 dragon scales, no less and no more, a vial of prisoner blood, and the blade of an executioner's axe. Then Zarya forged a blade of astonishing beauty. Wield it, and let the knife's edge show you the path to which you seek, the path to the wise man's true face, said she. But when the face stealer touched the knife, the blade greedily plunged itself into his mask, shattering the mirror-like surface and releasing the souls of his victims into the sky. The faces of Lurkhan had stolen fell to the ground as useless clumps of flesh, leaving only a gory skull behind. The face stealer perished, and wise Zarya and the shattered masks and nobody else would fall prey to Archigol's gruesome riddle. It's a headband of mental protection +4, so it gives you +4 intelligence, +4 wisdom, and +4 charisma. You can reroll 3 failed saving throws against death next per day. Sacred bones. The Crusader burial site of a century old has been discovered on the Dresden walls. Many of them are members of the noble house of Mentev. The officers believe that the bones should be returned to their families. Priests are suggesting the remains be placed in the temple as relics of martyrs. Capped on diplomacy. You know what? It seems like we're in Mendo's logic. I'm not hurting for anything really. For long years of oblivion, the bones of these heroes have fondly found rest in the family crypts. The influential families of Menda appreciate the commander's gesture.
After breaking the blockade of the demon armies and defeating Discari, the Crusade forces close in on the Threshold Fortress. The place where 100 years ago, the first rift between the planes was opened. The place where this story will end.
They're coming! They're getting closer, with the commander himself marching at the head. Let them come! It's been a long time since any brave fools challenged me, the mighty Khorramzadeh. I'll tear them to shreds along with their commander. Clearly you underestimate my ability to save scum. Or even lower the difficulty. Yeah, so unfortunately we didn't get our logistics score high enough to finish the endgame mission. But it looks like we're getting down to the wire now, guys. It's been fun.
I swear it.
I know his favorite song.
You've crossed the wrong mark.
Nice try. Didn't work though.
Did you see that? Forwards! It is not an option. That's how you hit them. Be gone, fiend! Kneel before me.
Need you range pros to pick up the range pros on the other one.
Surrender or else. You should listen to reason.
This one's mine.
Also,
All done for. Let's try.
we did it! We killed the big homo.
Endure this.
My longsword. Just because it's the end of the game doesn't mean you don't have to loot everything you see.
Let us be off.
Today we've been waiting for his arrival. Let us prove that we don't call ourselves crusaders for nothing.
Be victorious.
You're irrelevant. Didn't work though.
To deal with this thing. Control undead? I know how to deal with undead. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We know.
Precious. You are nothing before me.
Ain't no thing but a chicken wing. Good job, Chief Soul. We'll cover your advantage, Commander. You can count on us.
Let's move.
The hell is this? The ending of the story lies before us. It's time to turn to the last page. Why would a bad guy do a sunburst? That doesn't make any sense. Where did the storyteller go? Please let me alone out here.
You've crossed the wrong monk.
Surrender or else.
That's the ugliest fucking I've seen. That's the ugliest. All that money wasted. It's hard to believe. People live in tent cities and you're flooding us with dirt teetle, and all you do is flood us with dirt. Fucking dirt teetle, dirt.
You see that?
obnoxious sudden. Is it because I'm obnoxious sudden, or because I'm a horrible, or loud, or you... What? Just stupid, dude.
It's not an option.
I hate them. War. I'm not going to sit here and let you turn this into a cesspool.
Forwards! That's how you hit them.
I'm just going to sit on our asses and let you turn this into a dump. It's like tack a stand. While you turn this into tack a stand. Like, tack a stand. No, it's 10 times harder. So 10 times harder than it should be.
Late for apologies.
I screamed at you because you're Dina. Abadar, preserve us mortals who stand in the way of chaos. You fucking have to. No, don't fucking. Specifically told you not. Yeah.
It isn't my time yet.
Shit, that's Galfrey. I can't chuck a fireball at her, can I? No, sir. What else we got on our side here? Take them. Instead, we're babysitters. They're retarded. They want to.
Forwards!
I don't like them. I sure as hell don't like them. I don't like them.
It's not an option. You've crossed the wrong mongrel. Begone, fiend!
Fucking angry. Why do you take two from these? Get your attention, dude.
We must falter! Adventures await.
I will lend you my aid.
Good night, Daily Commander. Lead your troops forward and hold this position. You sure about that? That was abrupt, wasn't it? Basically using us. You need to use common sense. Because they cost a lot. They're not there in how long they're usually not. Yeah. Go. I need to go over this again because that's...
You've crossed the wrong mongrel.
Fucking, I don't know. Brittany doesn't know how to hide. He is a honey. No, not me, no. Go, go, you're the end. You're in my way, go, you're in my way. Go. Go, you're in my fucking way, though. There we go. They're garbage, I hate them. Fucking hate them, they're stupid. That's the ugliest fucking one. What are you gonna do? Help, Wilfred, help! You didn't heal yourself?
You won't survive.
Alright, we're taking the queen with us.
Still fight.
Very important. No, guys, that's Batty. You don't want to get closer to him. It's good to know you can actually do this, though. I mean... Haste on me, they're slow as fuck. You know, haste on me, they're slow as fuck. Here, you guys can do it. Advantage, CR.
Get another obstacle.
This is not my time yet.
Don't know why you needed to get that close to him exactly, but okay. You're like, see, you're like standing like right next to him. I don't see why you can't stand back there and shoot him. Where was the last one standing? Hey, this is one off, so she's really dragging her ass now, isn't she? Brilliant! Okay, so... Oh, there you go.
We cannot be defeated.
Oh, the fucker comes up.
Strike with all your might. I won't give up. You're done for.
Nice.
Adventures await. We will be victorious. Forwards!
Hold on, buddy.
We won't falter.
Oh, I don't feel the need. Rock 'em up, boys.
A dear guest on my doorstep. Please do come in. You have been long awaited.
Areelu opens her arms like a welcoming host. The gesture doesn't seem feigned, but you feel a strange, menacing tension behind it. The echo of a nervous chuckle, never uttered. The wound in her chest pulsates with a red glow. What are you expecting? All your previous attempts to stop me ended in failure.
And still, you have returned to the place where you almost died by my hand once before. You will not be able to heal the world wound without defeating me first. And that means we will face each other in battle again, very soon. But this time, I will be prepared.
You lost, just don't realize it yet.
You have no idea how many times in my life I have been on the very edge, but then saved myself, overcame everything, and emerged victorious. Can you see this fortress, this prison? It is my main witness. Today, one of us will finish what we started. Either you will complete your crusade, or I will complete my ritual.
Stand ready.
Where's my party? Allow us to reach our level cap. What the hell? I'm in a camp. Oh.
Let us be off.
This. Ooh. Well, my duty to Abjar, of course. I'm afraid to chaos, from the world of savagery and grief, in the light of civilization, law and order. Over the attack. Do this.
Commander, you promised us victory when it seemed impossible, and you did not let us down. Doing the impossible is your specialty. You have led us here, to the very gates of the enemy's lair. Now we will end this century-long nightmare once and for all.
You're so good at toppling fortresses by now, you can almost keep time by it. The Grey Garrison, Dresden, and now Threshold. So are we coming up on noon or midnight on the commander clock? Doesn't matter. The bards can settle that one. It's the hour of your triumph.
Do you remember our first meeting?
Of course. It was a long time ago now, but it's not the kind of thing you forget. I was almost buried alive. If it wasn't for you and Sela, my skull would be lying in some cave right now with only rats for company.
It was unforgettable. That attack on the Grey Garrison was the last desperate push, the last hope of holding the city when it seemed only a miracle could save us. We would have died there. But you and Anevia leapt out of the ground, and then miracles began to happen.
Miracle worker here. What do you do after we win?
Personally, I'm going to be doing a big pile of nothing. For a month, or maybe 2. Hire Beth too. Wheedling, blackmail, violence. I'll stop at nothing to drag her away on her first ever vacation.
Whatever you say, I can see surrender as my only option.
Let's finish this.
We've waited so long for this. Onward to victory!
Yeah.
Lead on, Commander.
Lousy fortress, I don't like it. How'd you get here? Our branch of the Abyss has run out of funds, but among the slaves we have redeemed from demons, there's a sufficient number of experienced fighters ready to thank the Pathfinder side with loyal service for their rescue. However, we don't need their services. The Venture captain is dead. Society ordered me to move here and offer the Crusaders a grateful help of those we've rescued. I hope that might enrich our treasury enough that I can return to the Abyss and continue my work. Why'd you come? The death of Venture Captain Heller, the Society charged me with helping the Fortress of Mendev. As far as I can see, now the main force of Mendev is you, which means I belong here. I appreciate the participation of the Pathfinders in our fight. I help you any way we can, Commander. Queen, I gotta talk to the Queen.
This endeavor rushes toward its conclusion. I wish to speak with you.
I bet you do.
To be honest, I almost stopped believing that I would live to see this moment. It has been at least 50 years since I stopped hoping and believing it could happen. And yet, here we are, at the entrance to Threshold. All thanks to you.
All thanks to me.
I have made a great many mistakes in my life, and I suppose I shall pay for every one of them, in this life or in the afterlife. But few mistakes became apparent to me as quickly and as painfully as my feud with you.
It's water under the bridge, honey.
I feel really happy. I mean it. I thought I would not have enough strength to drag this burden of regrets along to the final battle.
What do after we win?
I am going to rule Mendev. What else? I do not seem to have much choice in that. I have become a symbol of battle and of the war for our liberation. I hope I am wise enough to become a symbol of peace, too.
I get a request. When we win, the ward stones will no longer be needed. Whatever happens to me, free the angels and imprison them.
You are right. I shall fulfill your request, although it will be difficult. No one in Mendev knows the sacrifice that the creation of the ward stones demanded. The stones themselves are seen as a symbol of hope and safety. To destroy them would be akin to dismantling the fortress walls around Mendev's cities. It will provoke suspicion and panic, even if the demons are defeated by that time. But the angels have done their duty and should be freed. Therefore, should we win, I shall carry out your request. Even if it means losing the people's trust.
Negative.
Yes, of course. May Iomade be with you, or any other higher power you believe in.
Not a bad spot to end this war. Formidable, menacing. It has a certain style about it. Seeing as our contract is coming to an end, Commander, let me just say that you are the most impressive client I've ever had the pleasure to work with. And a highly lucrative pleasure it's been, too.
Ready to take up my offer?
Of course not. Where else would I have had so many adventures? Besides, it's thanks to you that I've been able to add so many accomplishments to my service record, which will boost my rates in the future. You know, it's jobs like this, the ones that are both fun and pay well, that make me love what I do.
You didn't just come here for gold, did you?
Well, it sure wasn't in the name of Iomade. Of course, money's not the be-all and end-all. You dimwits need someone with a clear head on your side, someone to watch your back. I know how you hero types love sacrificing yourselves at the drop of a hat.
Give me what you're smoking there. Pungent but not wholly unpleasant aroma assaults your nostrils as your lungs fill with hot smoke. You bring the full force of your will to bear against the sudden urge to cough and smoothly hand back Greyport's pride possession.
It's strong stuff from Garand. What do you think?
That's not bad.
Of course. It's worth its weight in gold. It's one of my little weaknesses that I refuse to give up.
Time is money.
Now you're talking. Why don't you show me who it is we need to kill to win this war? Areelu Vorlesh? I'll wish that lady sweet dreams with unalloyed pleasure.
Unalloyed, that means unmixed. Pure pleasure, that's what he's saying. Sword of Valor. The artifact, created by years of hard work, servants of Polura, and the efforts of the finest spellcasters of the Crusade, glows with mysterious light. Starlit Astrolab seems to be looking forward to the hour when it can release its power and unleash on the demons. This kind of a threshold.
Tired of waiting.
How's you, Ember?
This is it. The last fortress. It's been a long road from the river city to here. We walked and walked and walked along the road. And suddenly, there's no more road.
You ready for battle?
Nobody is ready. It will be scary. Very scary. In the last fortress, all the lies will end, and the truth will rise. It's scary. But it's good.
This is about truth and lies.
Nobody knows what will happen next. People are afraid of the future, so that's why they make it up. They lie to themselves so it's not so scary. They convince themselves and others of the things they make up. But one day the future will come. The story ends, for better or worse. When everything's already happened, there's nothing to be afraid of anymore. And there's no reason to lie.
Now what are you going to do when the war's over?
People used to call me a fool, a vagrant, and a beggar. Now they call me holy. It's so strange, because I'm just an ordinary little girl. But you know what's bad? I can see that some people are afraid of me. And some come to me and ask me if I'll punish other people for them. It's all so silly. It would probably be best if I go away somewhere, to a place where nobody knows me. They won't be afraid, they won't revere me, they won't ask me to work miracles. We've been on a long journey together, but it's at an end now. When we win, a new journey will begin. Hear that, Soot? It's time.
Time, Soot. Go poop on a car somewhere.
I am
calculating the likelihood of your victory. Taking into consideration the fortifications of Threshold, the long period it has been under demon control, and Areelu Vorlesh, who is personally overseeing the defense, I would give the Crusaders a 30% chance of success at most. Of course, the presence of an illustrious scholar of Golarion in your ranks, meaning me, immediately increases your chances by 5%.
Are you afraid?
Fear is an unproductive emotion that typically gets in the way of a good experiment. And I have never indicated that I do not support my loyal follower in his battle against the demons. I simply calculated your chances of success.
Whatever happens, we're not backing down.
If you win, I'll make sure to mention you in my encyclopedia. Aha! With that as an incentive, your chances have increased by 5%. Consider this my contribution to your victory.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's crazy? I never thought this moment would come so soon. It feels like only yesterday we were trying to bring a blazing Canabras under control, and now we're standing on the cusp of our last battle. Threshold. This isn't how I imagined it. I thought I'd be running happily toward death and trying to do something particularly heroic so I could go out in style. But now I'm thinking about how we have to win and go back to Dresden because there's so much work still to do there.
We don't care about being a hero anymore.
I want to be a living hero. Someone who doesn't stop at one good deed but keeps helping people until they beg him to give it a rest. We've been coddling these demons too long, don't you think? It's time to show them one last time what Golarians are capable of.
Greetings. Allow me to congratulate you on leading the armies of the Fifth Crusade to its decisive confrontation. Excellent. At last, a real achievement and a genuine chance of victory.
Here we're at Threshold. The final battle and resolution of the World War problem is at hand. Are you happy?
I suppose I am. Being happy is not in my nature, but for the first time in years, I feel something akin to that emotion. It would be interesting to analyze what I experience when I see the criminal Areelu Vorlesh defeated, the demons ousted, and the world wound closed at last. It promises to be an exceptional moment.
It's been an honor to fight alongside you.
And for me as well, Commander. For me as well. I am always ready.
Hope so. Storyteller. Stands frozen, unclear whether he is listening too closely to the sounds coming from the fortress, coming something, or just dozing. Hearing footsteps, justly ducks his head, Commander. How'd you end up reading this thing about? On my first battle, Commander, I know to defend myself, and thunder of a fight has never stopped me getting into another adventure. I have come to witness great things, and some unsightly demons will not dare get in my way. Will you help us in battle? Blind man is hardly what you need when you're storming a fortress. I will stay here among the soldiers, guarding the gates against uninvited guests. If you manage to seize any artifacts whose nature you wish to know, bring them to me and I'll read their stories. What do you think lies ahead for me? Gift is useless here. The story has yet to be written. The quill in your hands, Commander. Well, thanks for being here. Oh,
There it is. The Citadel, the demon army. You know, I expected it to be formidable and fearsome. Something that would make me quake in terror. But now that I am standing at its gates, I'm surprised at how little fear I feel. Do not mistake this for bravado. Our enemies are dangerous, but no more than that. We have traveled to the heart of the abyss, and back again. Now we are home, on our own territory. This time, let it be the invaders who quake in terror.
Make us whole again.
I regret that Trevor did not live to see this battle. But that means that today I will be fighting for myself and for him. For everyone who did not live to see our victory.
He really did die? Wow. You'll have to re-win.
I will go home to Endoran. I will lay down my weapon and never pick up another so long as I live. Save a knife for cutting grapevines. I will serve the goddess in our old temple. And when the peasant children come to pepper me with questions about the crusade, I will do my utmost to make sure that my stories give none the idea that there is anything beautiful or romantic about war.
You changed this match since we first met?
I had to. If I had a choice, I probably would have stayed the same naive little boy I was before the war. The boy who had never killed, who had never been to the abyss, who had never buried those with whom he had sat around a campfire only the night before. Even so, when I set out to join this war, my head was full of so many romantic notions. More than usual for a naive little boy. But life found a way to shatter those most thoroughly.
Your brother will be proud of you.
Pride is known as a mortal sin for good reason. It was pride that propelled my brother to join the crusade in search of glory. And look how that ended. No, I am not here to make anyone proud. I only want one thing. For this nightmare, after 100 long years, to finally be over.
You ready? Into battle.
Ready. Let us drive the demons all the way back to the abyss.
Where's Sela? There.
Hey! Well, are we gonna stick it to the demons one last time?
What are you gonna do after we win?
I don't know yet. I'll probably go back to being a knight errant, going wherever the road takes me, helping folk where I can. But let's win first, and we can talk about that later.
You're a real friend, Sela. It's been an honor fighting with you.
Back at you, friend. So, are we going to crush some demons? It's time to show them the door once and for all!
There's seriously nowhere to like go heal here? Here's your threshold. The darkness is dense and viscous. We grow in a cauldron. The darkness seemed to devour all light pouring in from outside. The danger lies not only within the companions you don't take in the final battle, remain here to guard the approach to the threshold. You're ready to fight as well. Look at the darkness. Let the darkness look into you. For a moment you think you can see blurred silhouettes inside, and you realize it was just your eyes playing tricks on you. Whatever's lurking in the darkness, it now lies waiting for you. I guess that was me giving a rousing speech or something. I can't believe they didn't let me heal. I can rest in here, but not out there. That's retarded.
My will is resolute. Goddess protects us.
We should move.
Search for the beauty with your heart, not your eyes.
Not particular. So you're lined with laughter, and then the lady in shadow begins to speak. Incredible, you rejected my counsel and foolishly dismissed the power I offered. Put my plans in jeopardy, and yet you've managed to succeed. Despite your flaws and foolish decisions, you are so close to victory. My victory. Do you know what lies ahead? Better than anyone, yet? Not well enough. You are about to confront the most lethal, powerful, and capable servant I've ever had. She's unmatched in her abilities, but you are her creation, her masterpiece. You are the only one who stands a chance of stopping her. The patient must surpass the creator. Why don't you join the battle yourself if you want victory? Why? You're doing perfectly well on your own. Everything is going exactly as I hoped. Okay, then. In the past, you have rejected my profane gift, but the situation is different now. You face a dangerous enemy, and you will need all the help you can get. So for the first time in many ages of my existence, I'll offer my patronage a second time. You spurned me once, but now I'll ask you again. If you accept my power, I will protect you during your fight against Areelu Vorlesh. If you refuse, you'll face her alone and die. Which do you choose? I prefer save scum. You'll regret your decision. In your moment of defeat, you'll remember the victory that could have been yours. But your keen insight pleases me. You are defiant, headstrong, and driven, just like me. I do not yield to the powers of others. I refuse to give up my independence. And it seems that you are the same. We have so much in common. It is possible that you are more deserving of my gift than the obedient servants who subjugate themselves to my will. Yes, I think I will give you my gift after all. I have woven this wreath from the darkest, most insidious shadow to the abyss. Where is a sign of my respect? Darkness caress? Dukakila falls silent, but you're a pure, clear voice, the voice of Ayomede. Her words resound in your ears like roll of thunder. Durden! You have remained resolute against the enticements of the Lady in Shadow. You have rejected the temptations of demonic power within you. You have remained true and loyal to the Crusade. You accepted no gifts or favors from any of the demon rulers. I, Ayomede the Inheritor, bless you before the battle. I demand no vows and impose no oaths. They are not necessary. Our beliefs are one, and so are our reasons to fight. I have given you my blade, and I will grant you my power, and you strike down your foes without pity. Daybreak? This is after I put my specialty into the scimitar. I can't even use? Oh, it's wrong character. I gotta say, Omeda, you could have given me that sooner. I could have used it a lot better.
Adventures await. We will be victorious. Retreat is not an option.
You've crossed the wrong mongrel. Begone, fiend!
Kneel before me.
How are you guys going? I know, like, you're supposed to use a torch against those swarms, but You've been given a sword by a goddess, you kind of want to put it to work, you know.
Retreat is not an option.
We kind of like... Ooh. Oh my god.
Be gone, fiend!
We won't falter. Kneel before me.
As it should be, that's how it's supposed to go. Now, who the hell are you again? After you're surprised that we met so soon, in my wanderings I received an answer to the question of who I am, but I do not know the truth about what to do with this truth. Are you going to stick around? Well, that's paid for Storyteller. We're going to meet Storyteller again? This isn't the end of the game? It would be funny if this wasn't the end of the game. There was like... I was only like half done.
Follow me.
What was this? Imezlen. Is that name supposed to mean something to me? Let's find out. Integrity compromised. Planar balance factor displaced. Maintain the structure at any cost. Maintain the structure. The quivering pile of metal bears little resemblance to a living creature. The voice that addresses you is the only sign of its sentience. Identification process complete. Crusaders recognized. Crusaders are enemies of Areelu Vorlesh. Initiating protocol. Communication with potential ally. Step 1. A request. Crusader, ask you to attack and kill me. Who are you? Name. Imezlen. Creature type. Inevitable. Status. Prisoner. Objective. Termination. Why do you want me to kill you? Necessity. My existence sustains the energy of the integrity of the Threshold Fortress. The Threshold Fortress protects Areelu Vorlesh. Conclusion. My existence sustains the enemies of order. My existence must be terminated. Obstacle. Existing protocols. Self-destruction is prohibited. Self-defense is permitted. If you attack me, you will activate my self-defense protocols. I will defend myself. I will be destroyed in battle. This scenario fulfills the objective, does not contradict existing protocols. Conclusion. The Crusaders need to reach the most secure areas of the Threshold Fortress. My death will cause the collapse of Threshold's defenses. Therefore, the Crusaders must terminate my existence in order to achieve their objective. Risk assessment. My death may cause some of the fortress exterior structures to collapse. It will become difficult to return to the entrance of the fortress. I'll ask you some questions here. How'd you get here? I was a deep reconnaissance mission. I was sent by the Axiomites of Axis to investigate a strange new disturbance in Threshold Fortress. I was captured by Areelu Vorlesh and her demonic allies. Since then, I have remained both her prisoner and test subject. The Inevitable's essence is used to stabilize structures that sustain the Threshold Fortress. It's from like another dimension? You can tell me about Threshold. The Threshold Fortress is the central location of the load-bearing magical structures that enable the world of existence. The Threshold Fortress is the most stable part of the wound, the only part that is minimally affected by the principal chaos of the Abyss. This paradox should not lead to confusion. The Threshold Fortress remains in a state of quiescence. This is not its natural state. Areelu Vorlesh uses external sources of power to prevent destabilization. This purpose I willingly serve. I supply power necessary to sustain Threshold Fortress. Does not. What can you tell me about Areelu? Areelu Vorlesh, formerly a mortal woman, now half-demon in possession of mythical powers. Threat level, comparable to demon lords. Psychological profile, extremely unstable. Her capacity for deep analysis and understanding coexists with her predisposition to manias and fixations. Conclusion, Areelu Vorlesh is an enemy of the Order, and is therefore subject to termination. And what about the World Wound? Comprehensive account of all data I have collected, this phenomenon will take, by my calculations, 4 days, 6 hours, and 35 minutes. An account of this duration is unacceptable under current circumstances. Proceeding to recount key points, and key points only. Point 1. World Wound is artificially created planar rift. It is intersection between the material plane and the plane of the abyss. The World Wound allows demons to travel freely from the abyss to Glorion. It also creates favorable environments for the magical cataclysms, anomalies, and phenomena. Point 2. The World Wound's existence was only made possible as a result of the criminal acts of Areelu Vorlesh. On 2 occasions, she conducted a ritual to bind a mortal soul, one with the essence of the abyss and one with the demonic soul. The soul-binding ritual acts as a framework for the intersection of planes. If this ritual is reversed, the soul will be severed from its bond, and the material plane will be severed from the abyss. The process will likely result in termination of the bonded soul. The prognosis for its owner's survival unfavorable. Point 3. The World Wound is an unprecedented violation of the world order. A powerful weapon of chaos. The World Wound must be removed at all costs. Okay. Bunch of stuff I already know, but it never hurts to recap. Let me look around for a bit. No, nothing I'm missing, is there? Ah, okay. Yeah, you're dead. What are the stats on this guy, do you think? Lawful neutral word selected. Okay.
This one's mine. Eternal Rose, I call upon you!
You're just staying in there. That was easy. That was... Oh, I'm on story mode. I forgot, yeah. Never mind. Okay. Options. We're tentatively putting back on non-pussy mode. Hello. Spooky. Paper is radically schooled calculations formulas, which I promise are in... Shards of several dozen large diamonds appear to have been used in unsuccessful atomic gas bombs. Full diagram of a tower next to a quick sketch of a room with a large crystal in the center. Empty stand that may have once held a crystal. Splintered to pieces. Hello. It's haunted or
March on.
Something of this strange place feels oppressive. The air is still and silent, yet you can hear distant echoes of words, promises, and battle cries. You strain to hear what's being said, but you can only make out a few words. Finally. Cease, sorcerer. I promise, I promise.
Can't be dismissed as a calculation error. You knew failure was a possibility. Then why? Why?
Areelu's silhouette looks just as surreal as the sounds that filled the space. She is not looking at you and seems lost in thought. Her voice is dull and tired, and there is no trace of the hospitality she showed you at the entrance of the fortress. It's over, Areelu. Now we're left for you to run.
Yes, it's decided. I will tell you the truth before we fight to the death. Would you like to know why I upended your life?
She barely seems to hear you. After a while, she turns towards you as if noticing you for the first time. She looks at you for a moment. Her expression changes. The tiredness in her eyes gives way to a cold, hard resolve. Yes, speak.
This place is my demi-plane. I created it when I was a prisoner in Threshold. I would slip away to conduct my rituals here in secret. This is where I decided to create what mortals would later call the World Wound. This is where I made all my preparations. Do you understand? Escaping was never my goal. I could have easily disappeared from Threshold. I could have passed through it like water through sand. Some believe that I brought Sarkoris to ruin out of revenge, and I suppose there is some truth to that. I did have reason for revenge. You've been to the secret part of my laboratory and know what I'm talking about. Or at least you have an inkling. My laboratory. The old house in the middle of nowhere that marked the entrance to my lab. It was the home of Areelu Vorlesh when I was still a mere mortal. I lived there with my son, away from the din of the crowd, and sheltered from the keen gaze of the Sarkorian witch hunters. It was a place where the reality of our world was in close proximity to the abyss, a place where I could study the magic forbidden to all Sarkorians. I thought I had hidden my home well, but I was wrong. They found it. They found us. At that hour, I was there, in the laboratory. That damned laboratory I loved so much. I was absorbed in one of my experiments when the hunters arrived on our doorstep. I was sitting at my desk, recording my observations, thoughts, and calculations, as was my habit. That's when I heard the noise outside. The fight was brief. It barely lasted a moment. By the time I sensed that something was amiss and hurried out to see what was happening, it was too late. All I could do was cradle the body of my dead child and cry after their departing soul. I promise.
You didn't have a scroll of resurrection? Why did they attack your son?
Because they saw him with a scroll that he had secretly borrowed from my supply. He was trying to perform a forbidden ritual. Children, they are always drawn to the unknown. But for the Threshold hunters, this child playing with a magical trinket he stole from an adult was just as much of a criminal as the worst demon worshippers.
Huh. I justified killing a child.
I am not concerned with whether it was justified or not, or with the application of morality, the law, or the teachings of any god. Look around you. This demi-plane. The first time I escaped from my cell and ran here, I was trying to resurrect my son. I tried many things, but all my efforts were in vain. The soul had already received Pharasma's judgment and had been sent on the path determined by the gods. Into the abyss.
To the abyss with him.
And when I realized that, I rebelled. But not against my jailers. Not against those who had murdered my child. Not even against Sarkoris. My uprising was against destiny. Death and the laws that the gods had forced upon our lives. I realized then that I wouldn't be satisfied with simply returning my son to life. I had to shatter this order once and for all, and make it so that neither Pharasma and her lackeys nor death itself could ever stand between us. Only by stepping beyond the bounds of what had been ordained for mortal kind, by obtaining powers that rivaled the divine, could we become free. And with this newfound purpose, I turned myself into a half-demon. Fusing the spiritual essence of the two planes was the only way I could achieve my goal. I let the abyss into my soul, and into this world. I opened the world wound. I danced around 3 demon lords, making them assist me without ever revealing my true intentions. They just believed they were dealing with another power-hungry mortal. But in reality, I was after one thing. I wanted to find what was left of my son's soul and give him a new birth. One that would prevent anything from ever harming him again. And then I found you. I chose you because I felt a faint affinity to you. I thought your soul could accept the remains of my son's soul, like the soil takes a seed.
Gross.
I thought I could bring back my child by tethering the mangled remnants of his soul to a pure mortal soul untouched by the abyss. I thought the power of the Nahindrian crystals would allow me to protect him forever. That I could tear him away from the dominion of mortal nature. But I was mistaken in both assumptions. Now I'm about to face the consequences of my mistake. You will witness them as well.
Well, look at you summoning all these ads. That's bullshit. I want to go back and rest, but I guess that's not an option.
Not an option. Begone, fiend!
I'll dissect your cadaver. You should have listened to reason. Surrender, or else!
Oh, I'm trying to... Oh.
Mind over muscle.
What, Durden? What? Oh, Durden CC. Oh, Durden's on crack. Run, 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 run.
You've crossed the wrong mongrel.
Upside, you say? Hazards of slide. We'll play the slide. I'll take that. Why not, right?
Here. I, Areelu Vorlesh, the one you called the betrayer, have nothing to offer you but death. Khorramzadeh, I will give you the chance to avenge your death.
Wow.
Rise.
Curse you, mortal scum. You have struck ice into my heart. I will devour your souls to loosen its freezing grip.
Let's make this quick.
Take your time, yeah, no rush. No rush at all, just stand there.
Simply business.
Did I mess up again?
Okay,
Did I mess up again?
It's your time to cease.
splat. Everyone goes splat.
Go. You're in my way.
Sela, what the fuck are you doing?
Into the sanctum of your allies, and then you intruded into my home and temple. But at last, we stand face to face in Threshold on neutral ground. In Iz, you struck down my creator and master Daskari, but if that makes you dismissive of his echo, if you think I do not pose a threat, then you are greatly mistaken. You have changed since our last encounter. Where are your incredible powers? What happened to your angelic light? Did the lackey of the imposter goddess turn out to be an imposter himself? A false angel whose mortal nature took over in the end.
You're too scared. Are you too scared to come fight me, chicken shit?
Master is in the abyss, in his realm. No, he does not wish to meet with you yet. A demon lord cannot afford 2 deaths in succession. It will kill him permanently.
I'm gonna kill you permanently, how about that?
Just another mortal who thinks he can be something more than food for the forces of the abyss. He lost to you. He lost. The great Daskari himself lost to a mortal. So what happens if I succeed where the great lord failed? If an echo destroys the one its originator could not defeat, who would that make me? What would it prove? I'll risk my life to know. You are not just my enemy, you are my chance. A chance I won't miss.
That performance is lacking.
Oh, that's hilarious. That armor, what's that like? That's her full plate. So much heavier. It weighs twice as much. It's twice the calories. Anyone our little escapade?
March on.
Now that your souls are separated, he is growing weaker and weaker. Why won't you just let me kill you? Extract your soul and finish what I started.
I'm too late. Shadow behind her and listens to your conversation. Head tilted slightly to the side. I can tell you've been preparing this place for battle, but there's more to it, am I right? I sense barrier spells waiting to be activated. There's something else, something deadly.
You're so adept at magic.
Not really.
Of course, I've been preparing for our meeting. And hopefully I've prepared well.
So the shadow isn't just part of the abyss, it's all that remains of your son's soul.
Yes, and what you did, it's like you tried to kill him again. As if you were one of the threshold dogs that broke into my home 100 years ago.
Well, excuse me. Certainly don't intend to let you kill me.
I don't require your permission.
Logic is lacking.
Begone, fiend!
Jumped right on.
I never thought that I would be responsible for the creation of my most powerful enemy. What if I'm wrong?
What if you're
If
wrong?
I'm wrong, then it's because
Women.
you are even worse than a failed experiment. You are the undoing of everything I have built. That I'm not going to flee from.
Yet another obstacle.
You should have listened to reason.
Sister just can't get through.
Forwards!
Forgot to haste. Oh, I forgot to haste.
Retreat is not an option. We won't hold.
This is not my time yet.
Oh, poop skip this.
Survive worse.
Kneel before me. This one's mine.
Just like this.
Strike with all your might.
Arcane flame disappear in an instant, as if they're erased rather than extinguished. The body of Areelu, architect of the world wound, betrayer of humanity, slumped to the floor, leaving you alone with her greatest work, the world wound. The defeated shadow rises and stands still at the very edge of the world wound, its gaze focused on the violet flames of the rift. The shadow says nothing, but you can sense the direction of its thoughts, to take one last step into the yawning chasm. Together, what has been whole for so long must come apart at last, and only the wound's fire can finally free you from each other. Alright. Come with me, Shadow must part at last, and put an end to the world wound. Whee! In the strange space you found yourself in, the Shadow takes the form of a human teenage boy. I'm tired. Will you let me go? Where are we? Must be in the wound, right? Or maybe inside ourselves, or both. I don't know. Alright. You go. I hope you're headed for the River of Souls and Pharasma's judgment. Thank you. I promise to remember you, but death is oblivion, so I'll forget everything soon. I'll become plainer essence, or maybe I'll be reborn as some otherworldly creature, but I won't remember. Either way, my time's up. I'm going. I'm fading. And you are now free. Bitchin'. Life and death, destiny and great deeds, answer to mysteries, the search for one's own true path. The mind can comprehend all of these, and then such concepts can be written down as a sequence of formulas, a series of lines, a chain of thought. Still, a moment always comes when it is time to wrap up, to reach the conclusion, to put a period at the end of the last sentence. The impossible rift, the bleeding wound that had tormented all of Golorion for 100 years, was finally healed. In the strange space beyond the horizon of the world, the commander parted with his shadow at last. Who else would have so rashly renounced his power for the sake of a faint idea of being himself? But the commander made his choice and stuck to his path with a doggedness even I cannot help but respect, no matter how much grief and anger the decision brought me. After the Battle of Threshold, the commander did not stay long in the lands where the Fifth Crusade had been waged. A new destiny, a new journey awaited him. The unusual alliance of various forces that had helped the commander in the Battle of Threshold ceased to exist soon after the victory. The commander's allies left the lands of the former world wound, spreading the word of extraordinary mortal to every corner of creation. The commander's accomplishments left a tremendous mark on history. For the next century, in just about every part of Golorion, philosophical teachings emerged that focus on the importance of being oneself, relying on one's own strength, rejecting others' gifts if they were offered not as a way of helping equal, but as a boon to an inferior. The most influential of these schools of thought was named after the commander, and its core concept was the following: every one of us has a shadow in our soul, and this shadow can make us stronger, but at the same time it can impede our self-understanding. To fight the shadow, even at the cost of relinquishing its boons and power, is the path to true strength of spirit. The leader of the Crusades, the commander, won their loyalty and obedience. Even in the Crusaders' darkest hours, the commander found ways to restore army supply lines. His military acumen was beyond question. Under his leadership, the divided, poorly trained Crusader forces were reforged into an invincible army. Leadership. Due to the success of the commander's diplomatic strategy, by the end of the war, Mendev's true political center was Dresden, not near Sion. After gaining the support of foreign rulers and finding allies in the capital, Dresden became the shining example of the new Mendev, one that was nurtured by the commander's ideas. significance and accomplishments of the crusade were so great that even a century after the end of the war, Durden retained its prominence on the map of Avestan. Commander's diplomatic, military, and administrative talent turned the fortress into a key political player. Queen Galfrey turned to Nurasian with the intent to rule Mendev as before, but as it turned out, Mendevian society was hungry for change. The war-ravaged nation desired new leadership. The Queen was not countenance yielding her authority to anyone else. She believed her duty to her homeland had not been yet fulfilled. On his return to Kenabres, Halran ranted and raged against those who had been governing the city in his absence. But contrary to all expectations, Halran's inquisitors were far less vicious than in days past. It seemed the time he had spent fighting in the Fifth Crusade had tempered him somewhat. The wardstones from the chain that once guarded the borders of Mendev were carefully disassembled one by one. The angels that had been trapped inside returned to heaven to heal their wounded spirits, prepare for new battles against evil. The victory over the World Wound changed many things, not just on Golorion, but in the Midnight Isles as well. Articula spent many days pondering the words of certain young and fearless prophet. Before long, the Lady in Shadow openly renounced her realm and named herself the Redeemer Queen. This revolt against her own demonic nature transformed Articula, severed her ties to the Abyss, and brought her to Elysium. Thereupon, creating a realm named Midnight Palais, the Redeemer Queen attained divine power and became patroness of exiles. The now vacant throne was instantly seized by Shamira, the Ardent Dream. However, her power could not compare to the might of the Lady in Shadow. The Midnight Isles, which had become a tempting prize for demons, plunged into chaos. The commander celebrated his victory over Arishkegel. Little did he know that some demon lords go far as forfeiting their own life to achieve their goals. The mask of the inscrutable Arishkegel remained in the possession of the commander of the Fifth Crusade till the very end. He refused to or could not find the strength to discard the sinister item, and shortly after the Battle of Threshold, he began disappearing for days at a time, and suddenly returning, unable to recall what had happened to him. The demon lord Baphomet suffered a defeat. The world wound was closed, and the convenient passage to Glorion was sealed along with it. Baphomet shifted his attention to the realms of other demon lords. A cell of the Templars of the Ivory Labyrinth was soon discovered in Alushinra. The demon lord Discari suffered a defeat. He bided his time, continuing to plot his invasion of Golorion, and after that, of heaven itself. The cultists that remained on Golorion went mad, one after another, tortured by nightmarish dreams their lord sent to them. Commander's escapades in Alushinra left a lasting impression on its denizens. Under Zeklik's management, the battle bliss gradually fell into decline. Audiences had grown bored of the ordinary gladiator fights, and the Hydrian League closed due to a lack of members. Realizing that his talents in the arena steward would never be appreciated in the Abyss, Zeklik sold the battle bliss and used the proceeds to relocate to Hell, where he finally found himself at home. The unrelenting killer and vigilante known as Red Mask ended her purge of Alushinra and assembled a full squad of Aasimar assassins. Demons enjoyed listening to stories of their bloody exploits, that is, till the assassins came to collect their heads. The place where the commander's camp had once stood became a symbol of freedom for runaway slaves in the Abyss. They flocked to the Nexus by hundreds and erected a real fortress, which held out against several assaults by the slavers. Gesmira was true to her word. The Winter Sun clan left the land of their ancestors. Once they had left the borders of the former Sarkoris, the clan split into several branches. One went to the wildlands of Numeria, others set off for free Varissia. A small group led by Gesmira chose to travel to Andorran, where they were lost among the many refugees fleeing for their lands and other wars. The Winter Sun clan ceased to be. The two Blades were adamant about retiring from military service, leaving it all behind and escaping together, but urgent Eagle Watch business forced them to stay for a week. Then, for a month, and for many years even as Anivia cursed their lot. However, her eyes, when not shine with pride, for she was always the first to admit that Irbeth was not the kind of person who could just up and retire. The abyssal boy named Zorgus had intended to leave the material plane, but the conversation with the commander after the victory over the World Wound caused him to change his mind. The details of this conversation are known, but a week later Zorgus knocked on the door of Pathfinder Society's Grand Lodge and was accepted into the society as a ward. It was the beginning of a long adventurous saga. Okay, so Zorgus is that little boy we rescued out of Shinra. I remember him. The commander's decision to destroy Numerian device that he had captured in Blackwater Clan encampment had a dire consequence. Free of the mechanism that inhabited and controlled it, the mysterious core device soon awakened and vanished in a flash of magical energy. Within weeks, the commander Numerian hunters began to tell tales of a strange construct they had encountered in the mountains. It was the skeleton of a machine of some sort, alien and incomprehensible, that had been built by people with hollow eyes. The storyteller, as old as the tales he collected, continued his travels across Golorion and occasionally beyond. He knew that out there somewhere there was one story he'd never find, his own. I had that one page I found. I couldn't go back to him, could I? Once again, Seela heard the call of the open road. Even a valiant paladin can be prone to self-doubt. And after everything that had happened to her, Seela wanted to sort out her conflicting thoughts and the emotions of her own. The war was over, but Lan did not feel his duty was truly done. He intended to die in the war, but for reasons unknown to him, his life just went on and on. He helped the Mongols find their place at the surface world and kept putting off his dream of going on a sea voyage. The dream was never realized. That's depressing. After the victory, Ember simply sat for a long time staring at the tongues of flame dancing in her hands. Her new powers frightened her. The awestruck redeemed were ready to hang on her every word, and that her frightened her even more. She left without saying goodbye to anyone and continued her endless wayfaring along the roads of Golorion, helping the distressed and punishing evildoers. Many worshipped her as a saint, but she would always respond with, "Please, I'm just an ordinary girl." Soon after the war, the tireless researcher of all things researchable embarked on a new journey. She had a sudden urge to know how much time it would take to visit every nation on Golorion. She returned after a year and a half with a pile of notes, which she promptly handed over to her assistant. After all, someone had to help her compile the entries for the first volume of the encyclopedia, Golorionica. It only made sense for her assistant to help, given that one of the entries was dedicated to him, the commander of the Fifth Crusade, and with Golorion history. Among the victories, Socio returned home. Now a famed Crusader hero, he humbly officiated at Temple of Shelin, painted, grew sweet swelling fruits, and made the best wine in the region. His former kindly smile returned less and less often. He avoided talking about the war, and when people asked about his brother's fate, he discreetly replied that Trevor had been killed by demons. During the war, Socio met an engineer by the name of Aaron Kerr. That meeting turned into a friendship, which turned into love. And then it was time for the wedding. Later, the cleric would say that only memory of his beloved allowed him to cope with the terrors of the abyss and keep his sanity. Commander was among those invited to the wedding. Having received an invitation to the wedding, Seela was torn about whether she should attend. She felt appearance that her friend's wedding would be a bad omen. In the end, she politely declined. Regal Durang wrote a treatise on waging war against the demons, both a practical manual and a philosophical exhortation, and once was done, he succumbed to the bleaching completely. He was posthumously reinstated in his order and buried with honors in the officers' cemetery. His treatise was used in all future wars against the abyss by mortals, angels, and devils alike. Before he died, he managed to send a letter to the commander. Did it contain sincere farewells or a list of directives? Impossible to say. No one was privy to the contents except the recipient. After the war, Grey Boar went off on his personal conquest. He traveled out of Shinra and killed 4 candidates for the position of head of the Assassin's Guild. Whereupon he rightfully took the position himself, became a preeminent figure in the Midnight Isles. Under his leadership, the guild prospered, and the denizens of many planes would shudder whenever they heard the innocent phrase, "sweet dreams."
And what of me, the writer of these words? The half-demon witch known as the architect of the world wound. I was defeated and fell at the hand of the one I had tried to transform. My experiment ended in failure, and my life ended along with it. I have recounted the story of my life for you, Pharasma, Lady of Graves. Not only of my life, but of the Commander's also. I believe the tale of such an illustrious figure would pique even a goddess's curiosity. Now you know everything. I await your verdict, Goddess.
Violence hangs over the boneyard. The Lady of Graves is weighing her decision. It seems the entire universe is holding its breath, awaiting her pronouncement. Who would dare to break a silence so absolute? Let's let Pharasma deliver her verdict.
You wrought great evil, while it stemmed from the evil that was done to you. Your actions far exceeded it. Your soul is dark, and there is only one place for you in the universe. I send you to the abyss, plane of pain and fury, suffering and privation. That which you have done to others will now be done to you. So be it.
The end. Wow. I'll try not to cry, but I'd like to thank you all so much. Yeah, wow, that game took a lot longer than I thought it would. See here. I've put together something special for this occasion, actually. You may have heard of him. I meet you, Mr. Conway Twitty!
Nice to see you. It's been a long time.
No, I'm just joking. That would be against copyright. But anyway, I'll put together a little highlight reel and some stats. And yeah, I'd like to thank you so much for watching. And I hope you stick around to see what my next project is. Once again, you can find me on Facebook, Reddit, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, OnlyFans. Well, maybe not, but you never know. Yeah, and wherever you are, I hope you have an awesome time. Now watch this.